Hello, fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. So, about a week ago, I did a book haul, and in that book haul, I found some sword and sorcery magazines. Cole was the first three of Cole, which somebody in the comments said is the whole run of that, so that's cool. And I got these from a local thrift store. Well, I'm back today because about 3 or 4 days after I had picked those up and made that book haul, I went back to the same thrift store, and it turns out that that was just the beginning of a donation of somebody's collection that was very specifically into sword and sorcery, and what a collection this person had, and I bought all of it. I think I bought 79 books and I spent $115, and I think this collector knew more about sword and sorcery than I do at this point, and I hope to learn a lot more about this as I go through. But I grabbed basically everything I could find in the genre, and one of the things that's been really fun about going through this is trying to learn as much as I could about the person that collected this. I know that sounds silly, but this person obviously was really knowledgeable on the subject and chose all of these things for a reason, and as we go through, we'll look at more and more of that. So let's get started. I don't know how much camera battery I have, so I'm going to do as much of this as I can and then charge for a while and pop it back on. One of the first things I got was Fritz Leiber's The Wanderer. And this is a book club edition. And Fritz Leiber is known, I think, did they say he's the one that invented sword and sorcery? That can't be true. With his Fother and Grey Mouse? I don't know. But I got some Fritz Leiber, and that's cool. And I don't think that's sword and sorcery. I think that's science fiction. This, however, is Fritz Leiber's Swords and Ice Magic. And this says the sixth in the series of Fafred and Grey Mouser sagas. I looked everywhere for more of this series while I was there, and it brings up an interesting fear in that perhaps they haven't put everything out yet. Just popping by either before or after classes to see if they've put any more out. But this is the only Leiber from this series that I was able to find. But it wasn't the only Leiber. I also got The Green Millennium. Now, this is a novel I've done on the channel. I absolutely loved it. And I had it in a ace double, but this cover is the most sword and sorcery version of this story, and I wonder if Ace was trying to push the fact that Fritz Leiber had done this Fafred and Grey Mouser saga, and we're trying to package him as mainly sword and sorcery, but this is a complete science fiction novel, absolutely science fiction, and one of my favorites, an incredibly wild novel. So I was glad to get that cover just to have. Other random stuff this person had. From the Fantastic Worlds of A. Merritt, The Metal Monsters. I'm getting a pretty good collection of this guy, and I haven't read him. And I want to jump in because he's of an era that I'm excited to read about. I think that I'll really enjoy some of his stuff. Where should I start? I have like 4 or 5 of his novels. Let me know where I should start. Also have The Best of Robert Silverberg. Looks like it's got a woman with butterfly wings on the cover here. Anytime I see a woman with butterfly wings, I think of Psyche from the it's a myth, the Cupid and Psyche, but it's also considered the world's first literary fairy tale that was written specifically for literary intentions. But anyway, there's The Best of Robert Silverberg. Imaginary Worlds by Lynn Carter. This is part of the Ballantine Adult Fantasy series. I might already have a copy of this. Oh, interesting. Looks like he marked his place. This looks like a list of writers that he might be interested in. Physiognomy by Jeffrey Ford, Jane Yolen, Kurt Weldon, Mark Singer, Bhagavati by Kara Dalkey, Iron Dawn, Jericho Moon, Matthew Woodring Stover, The Lady in the Lock, Eliza Ann Scarborough, Ramses series. Wow. Caw by Robert Colasso, The Giant O'Brien by Hilary Mantel, Quarantine, Ghost Town by Robert Coover, works by Jack Cody. Wow, I don't know a lot of this. Interesting. More info about the person whose collection I bought. This is, and it's got one of these in here. Free preview issue of Buddha Dharma. Okay. Interesting. I'm going to put stacks of stuff over there. This is Lynn Carter. Oh. And there's a Jesus bookmark. He bookmarked 3 places in here. Okay. These are old short stories from people like Dunsany and Morris and all kinds of interesting fantasy short stories. It's kind of supposed to be a history of fantasy. Very, very cool. This I've never seen before. Didn't even know it existed. Don't even know if this is the right one to read, but I'm super happy to get it either way. It's a Ballantine Lovecraft, a biography by L. Sprague de Camp. And I didn't know that he even did a biography of Lovecraft. It's 480 pages long, thick book, and looks really interesting. I didn't even know it existed. A Fine and Private Place by Peter S. Beagle, by Ballantine, of course. Peter S. Beagle, well, he got this far into it looks like, with his dinosaur bookmark. Peter S. Beagle wrote The Last Unicorn, really important fantasy writer. It looks like there's people playing chess with a ghost on the front cover. The Fantastic Imagination, an anthology of high fantasy. George MacDonald, Lord Dunsany, J.R.R. Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Peter Beagle, Ursula K. Le Guin. Just so many important people in this. Looks like a really interesting anthology. Never heard of it before. It's by Avon. Getting more into the actual sword and sorcery, I have Flashing Swords number 4. Great cover on that one. And I also have Flashing Swords number 5. Really good cover on that one as well. Again, I want to find 1, 2, 3, but I'm going to keep going back daily and just seeing if I can find them. This guy collected some Daws, and he seemed to have a very specific taste in which Daws he got. I have Philip Jose Farmer's The Other Log of Phileas Fogg, which is a kind of Jules Verne fan fiction, I think. Very cool. It's harder to find Daw. I did not have it, and it goes in the first 100, which is the section I'm trying to collect first, is the first 100. Great cover. Great cover. That might be the cover for this whole book haul, the thumbnail. And then he collected Swann. And I tell you what, I just read a Swann book, and I was not impressed. And we're going to be talking about that soon. But the artwork on this is incredible. This is How Are the Mighty Fallen? Wonderful cover art. And again, the Knot World. Look at that crazy cover art. Are these all Kelly Freyas? I wonder if they are. No, George Barr. Looks like that one. George Barr. Here's the Minnikins of Yam. George Barr. I guess I like George Barr's art. The Gods Abide, the one that I just read with Virgil and that we're going to talk about with Brian over at Bad Taste Books. That one is also George Barr, and the cover art on that is cooler than the book. Never seen this one. Cry, Silver Bells. A lot of these I might have doubles of. We'll see. I always buy Daws when they're cheap, just because I can check to see if one is in better condition than the one I have. Cry, Silver Bells. I do not know this one. I know I didn't have this one. Cover art by George Barr. It looks like they got George Barr to do all of these. Green Phoenix. The Last Stand of the Prehumans. This is something that I think he's really interested in. George Barr did that cover. as well. And then we have a non-Daw. This is an ace. The Weirwoods. Seriously, just because his books look so good, I want to give Swann another try. If there's a Swann novel that, if you're a Swann fan and you read something you loved by him, please let me know what it is. I want to give him another chance. They don't tell us who the artist for this one is, but it does not look like George Barr. So there are some Daws. So now we're going to get into kind of the meat of what this guy collected. But there's one more kind of random offshoot that I have to do, and that, of course, is Gene Wolfe. This guy collected a little bit of Gene Wolfe. What I was able to find is the Shadow of the Torturer timescape, the Claw of the Conciliator timescape, and the Sword of the Lictor timescape. I don't need these. I already have copies of these, so these I will... Well, really what I'm going to try to do is see if Ira has them, because Ira's collecting all the timescapes, and if he doesn't have them, I'm going to trade with him for these, and if not, then I'll give them away or sell them. But, I mean, you find Gene Wolfe like this anywhere. It's incredible. This is so rare to find. I was very happy to find these. So that's kind of the outliers of what this guy collected. From here on out, we can get into his more direct collection, I think. And the first one I can say is I got 3 really incredible condition ace books about Cormac Mac Art. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Robert E. Howard's other hero, Cormac Mac Art. The Sword of the Gaul. And this is by Andrew J. Offutt. So this is definitely Sword and Sorcery, but I don't know who this other person is. Same series, we have The Mists of Doom. Let me know in the comments if this is worth it. I don't know. I know I don't want to read Sword and Sorcery into stuff that isn't good. I want to read the good stuff, so let me know if this is worth keeping and worth reading. And last but not least, we got When Death Birds Fly. And these are all in really good condition. They're all aces, and well, they were in really good condition. They're all aces, and the backs are the spines are completely unbent. So cool. It looks like he collected anything Conan. Here we have Conan the Rebel by Poul Anderson. And I know a lot of people have written Conan stuff. And these covers just get absolutely wild. Again, I don't know if Poul Anderson's Conan the Rebel is worth reading. But there we go. Really good condition. Conan the Magnificent by Robert Jordan. This one, unfortunately, is not in great condition. It has a tear on the back there. But wild cover. I think Robert Jordan did The Wheel of Time, right? So here he is writing a Conan story. And then I have a collection of Conan, 5 of them. And these are really wild. They're by different people. The first is Elsbreg de Camp, Lynn Carter, and Bjorn Nyberg. Forgive me if I said that name wrong. The best thing about this is this stuff folds out. I've never really seen a paperback cover do that. It's really cool. Don't know if it's worth it. It's also got an insert still put in there. That's number 1. Number 2 is The Liberator by Elsbreg de Camp and Lynn Carter. Again with a fold out. Very cool. That was number 2. Number 3 is Conan the Sword of Skelos. This is by Andrew Offutt, the same one that we looked at earlier. This is the best fold out of the bunch so far. Those other ones could be really good, but this one actually increases the art way more than the other ones did. Very cool. It's like a wraparound, but it goes the other direction. Really wild. Number 4, Conan the Road of Kings by Carl Edward Wagner. Again, this time the cover art makes way more sense, and it really is a wraparound. So neat. And number 5 is Conan and the Spider God. Although this is number 5, it doesn't seem like this exact same set. It is Bantam, but I think this isn't one of those fold-out covers. It might be an earlier printing. But this is by L. Sprague de Camp, and great cover. But I don't know if this is something I need to read or pass along. You guys let me know in the comments. And then I got the beginning of the actual Robert E. Howard Conan. This is number 1 Conan. And this is the one where where L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter went through and edited the Robert E. Howard stories. So I don't know if I need to keep these or not either. I just love all the covers. Some of them I think are just keepable for the covers. Here's Robert E. Howard Conan Red Nails. This is the authorized edition edited by Carl Edward Wagner. Maybe this is one that hasn't been messed with like the other ones. I'm looking specifically for a story that I think is called The Tower of the Elephant, just because that is the one that Virgil told me I should start with, that I should start. My first Robert E. Howard story should be The Tower of the Elephant. Here it is here, but I'm afraid that this is going to be edited by L. Sprague de Camp. So is it okay in this version, or do I need to get a more modern version to get the actual Howard one? You guys let me know. I also got The Last Valley of Iskander by the creator of Conan. I think I got 2 copies of this. I don't know if this is about Conan. This might be one of Robert E. Howard's other heroes. We shall see. I haven't gotten into this writer yet, Robert E. Howard, but it's interesting to me that everybody that reads him, even people that I would expect would not enjoy him, everybody walks away going, wow, Robert E. Howard is incredible. So I got to try him. I got a lot of stuff that is non-Conan related. Three-Bladed Doom. The Lost Valley of Iskander. I think these are all different heroes that Howard wrote about. Son of the White Wolf. Deep in the Country of the Knife. The Incredible Adventures of Dennis Dorgan. Black Volmia's Vengeance by the creator of Conan. The Cruelest Pirate of Them All. The Vultures of Wapiton. Conan of Cimmeria. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Again, this is L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter, which means I think this might be the edited version. Oh, and this might be a repeat of that other one. Here's Conan Volume 1. Again, L. Sprague de Camp and Lynn Carter. Seems like they've messed with Robert E. Howard's texts in this one. Okay, I'm recording this book haul in 2 parts, so the next things I found that were really incredible but are much harder to show here are a large chunk of old fantasy science fiction magazines, mainly fantasy. And these have such wonderful covers and tell us more about the person whose collection this was, because we can see who he's specifically collecting. So I got some amazing science fiction. He only had 2 of these because they included a story by Jack Vance, a novel or a novella called Maroon Alastor 933. So this is the complete set of that. And I was just flipping through here, and I saw this story called Fully Automated with Low Down Payment by Linda Isaacs. Never heard of Linda Isaacs. I read the first couple of sentences and realized this is a story I am going to have to read and talk about on the channel. The first lines are, it's illustrated by Lawrence Camp. The first line is, "The refrigerator opened and a hand reached out. It gave me a glass of milk. 'Fenton,' I screamed. 'Fenton, come in here.' Fenton took his sweet time, but finally he came in from the dining room. I was white and trembling against the counter, unable to move, but I don't think he noticed. The room glistened with the pristine cleanliness typical of new kitchens, and radiated an air of innocence as if nothing unusual had happened. Sorry, my cat has caught one of his toy mouses, and he is telling me about it, and he's telling me about it loudly. So I've marked that. I'm going to read that for the channel. This is the cool thing about these science fiction magazines. I don't know if that's going to be a good story, but man, what a beginning. It starts so strongly. Also, there's a Harlan Ellison in this one. Somehow I don't think we're in Kansas. Toto by Harlan Ellison. I got some fantasy and science fictions. I love this magazine. I don't know exactly why he got these specific ones. This one has a novel Wolfe Head by Charles Harness, but it's only part 1, and I couldn't find the rest of it. Oh, it looks like he's marked these, and it's interesting because he marks all of these table of contents with circles or X's. So I don't know, I am guessing circles means he liked it, and X's means he didn't like it. I'm just making that up, I have no idea. But these are all marked with circles, and he marked The Island by Elizabeth A. Lynn, and Spider Love by L. Sprague de Camp. He also marked The Hall of the Mountain King by Jeffrey Bullock. So those must be the reason that he got this specific magazine. And then this one was really cool, Night of the Tiger by Stephen King. And this is, let's see if this says February 1978. They got Stephen King. He has marked The Lady in White by Stephen R. Donaldson, Bearings by Edward Allen, and The Night of the Tiger by Stephen King. Those are the 3 he marked in this one. Oh, here's another amazing science fiction. Alec Anubis by Robert Young. Let's see if he's marked this one. This is March 1977 of Amazing Science Fiction. He did not mark this one, so I don't know exactly why he had this one. And this one makes more sense. He got the Sword and Sorcery Annual. This is probably because he's got some L. Sprague de Camp in there. Michael Moorcock, Fritz Leiber, a lot of people. Oh, here's a Roger Zelazny, Horseman. So this is Fantastic Stories Special, 1975. Queen of the Black Coast by Robert E. Howard is on there. So that looks very interesting. But, more specifically, I got almost a complete run of Fantastic Stories, which it starts as science fiction and fantasy and then turns into sword and sorcery in the later 70s. There are so many cool covers here. I really just can't show them all. But I think I could buy maybe 4 or 5 magazines and have a complete run of Fantastic Stories from the 70s. Really, really incredible. I love when I get collections like this that are so specific to one type of collection. It really is fun because I mean, like I said at the beginning of this, the guy that collected this knew more about this than I did. So now I slowly get to go through and read and learn about all the things that he already knew about. So really, really wild book haul. I've gone back a couple of times since then and I haven't found more, but I'm going to keep looking at that specific thrift store here in town just to see if anything else is put on the shelves. Alright, that's it for this book haul. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, click like. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe because we're making a lot more of it in the future. Thank you so much for watching.